that's the global conversation. But when this happened in 2018, cities had been doing a lot already to welcome and include migrants, and had been discussing a lot to welcome and include migrants. So in that same year, cities agreed to comply with both compacts, but also to go a little bit beyond. And I don't know if we can go to the next slide, perhaps. The message was quite clear. In cities, all people are, first of all, inhabitants, all people are neighbors. And from this point of view, you will need to trust me because we are not seeing it, but in any case, that was the key message. With that in mind, and thinking of people as neighbors, regardless of origin or bureaucratic administrative status, cities came up with a global charter that is like that today is enshrining the political commitments. Sorry, should I? What do you need? It's me indeed. Okay, let me, so what should I? I will need them. Okay, this is, I think, well, so anyways, so cities have a vision on how migration and refugee governance should be addressed. And this vision, has a lot of elements, but I will just highlight one. For local governments, for the members of UCLG, and for all our partners, migration is not a matter of borders, it's a matter of people. And from those people-centered approaches, with our partners, we launched the Call to Local Action on Migrants and Refugees. The idea of the Call to Local Action is to identify and collect the actions that are happening in the territories to address migrants and refugees' needs, and also to address the conviviality with host communities. Within this process, we are now entering a phase where we're focusing on participation and discrimination with a series of activities that start indeed in this conference, but will continue next week in a global online peer learning event where you are all invited. You just need to reach out to us and we will tell you how. And part of this discussion on participation and discrimination involves youth too. And that is why we have chosen this panel to bring to you a little bit of perspective. So that is the context. Now let me go to the substance of the panel. Welcoming first of all Matheus Tavares, who is the Human Rights Coordinator of the Special Secretariat of Citizenship in Rio, where you have been hearing many initiatives that foster participation so far today, and we are not done yet. I want Matheus to tell us a little bit more about the municipal policy for the protection of rights of migrants and refugees population. And I want also want you to tell us a little bit on what are the links that you are exploring, if any, with your public policies that address youth, be it migrant or youth from Rio. So, Matheus, the floor is yours.
Primeiro, agradecer o convite, tanto da OIDPD quanto também da Prefeitura do Rio de Janeiro, que no final me possibilitou realizar todo esse trabalho, o nosso prefeito que já teve a oportunidade de abrir o evento e a todo momento sempre incentivou a criação dessas políticas públicas que eu vou falar um pouquinho delas aqui. Então, primeiro vou me apresentar, meu nome é Matheus. Eu sou advogado de formação e estou na qualidade de coordenador de direitos humanos da Secretaria Especial de Cidadania desde o ano de 2021, e toda vez que eu falo isso eu percebo que o tempo não para mesmo, né? Passa bastante rápido. Não sei se a apresentação vai rolar, se puder colocar. Então, eu separei aqui nessa apresentação um pouco da trajetória que a gente teve na nossa cidade de 2021 até aqui, falando um pouco dos desafios, do que já foi implementado, do que existia antes dessa atual gestão. Enfim, falar um pouquinho do trabalho que a gente vem realizando dentro da coordenação de direitos humanos da Prefeitura, da pasta da migração e do refúgio. Então, vou começando. Assim que a gente assumiu a Secretaria, nós tivemos sempre dois objetivos muito importantes e os principais, que eram as construções de políticas públicas efetivas e participativas. Então, efetivas e participativas, sempre visando o melhor acolhimento da população migrante, refugiada e apátrida da nossa cidade. E como é que foi que a gente conseguiu buscar essas políticas efetivas? A gente buscou sempre a identificação e a notificação do problema, o diálogo constante com a população migrante e refugiada, a formulação da política pública a partir desse diálogo, o acompanhamento e, por final, o monitoramento dessa política pública, que é uma das fases que a gente se encontra. Ainda falta bastante política pública para implementar, mas acredito que, de lá para cá, a gente já tenha efetivado bastante desses objetivos. Então, encontramos, assim que assumimos, um dos maiores desafios, a pouca memória de políticas públicas na nossa cidade. Acredito, não sei se a maior parte da plateia é carioca, mas houve um tempo em que não se falava muito de migração e de refúgio aqui na nossa cidade. Muitas vezes, e até mesmo a gente pode, enfim, citar a fatalidade que aconteceu com o congolês, o Moïse. Então, a gente muitas vezes deixou o problema chegar à nossa porta para tomar alguma atitude. Então, esse foi a nossa maior dificuldade. Esse foi um dos nossos maiores desafios, a pouca memória e a desconfiança da população migrante e refugiada com a administração pública. E aí eu não estou falando só do município do Rio, eu estou falando do município, de estado e também do governo federal à época. Então, é importante, a ausência desse diálogo, ela é muito prejudicial na construção das políticas públicas. E um dos nossos primeiros trabalhos foi reestabelecer esse diálogo, buscar esse contato a todo momento com a sociedade civil, a fim de entender o problema. E, a partir do contato com a sociedade civil, a gente pôde, primeiro, alcançar as duas agências da ONU, que hoje em dia são nossas parceiras, a OIM, que está aqui na organização do evento também, e a Acnur. Então, ambas as agências, nós pudemos assinar um termo de colaboração da Prefeitura do Rio de Janeiro com as duas agências. Por parte da OIM também, a gente aderiu ao MGCY, que é o Índice de Migração de Governos Locais, que busca diagnósticos da nossa cidade, indica boas políticas públicas. É uma parceria com a The Economist. Então, acho que, salvo engano, publica ainda esse ano o MGCY. Meu Deus do céu, 5 minutos. Buscamos os dados também, a partir da regulamentação do SUAS e da Secretaria de Saúde, e buscamos boas referências de políticas públicas já implementadas no nosso estado de São Paulo. Também pudemos visitar a cidade de Córdoba, na Argentina, a fim de analisar todas essas políticas que funcionam em outros locais. E as nossas parcerias com as organizações da sociedade civil, que são formadas por refugiados e muitas vezes presididas por refugiados imigrantes. Então, a partir dessa busca que nós tivemos, a gente conseguiu criar o COMPARME, que é o Comitê Municipal para Refugiados, Imigrantes e Apátridas, no Rio de Janeiro. É um comitê que ele é paritário entre os membros da administração pública e da sociedade civil. A presidência ela é alternada e rotativa, ou seja, esse ano, esses dois primeiros anos está sendo presidido pela administração pública. Ano que vem e no próximo será presidido pela sociedade civil. É um comitê que busca criar políticas públicas e busca principalmente ter um órgão direto de espaço entre a sociedade civil, de espaço de diálogo entre a sociedade civil e a administração pública. A partir desse comitê, a gente criou o Centro de Referência de Atendimento ao Imigrante no Rio de Janeiro, o segundo no Brasil e o primeiro no nosso estado. Com isso, a gente também criou feiras gastronômicas mensais, enfim, para a possibilidade de emprego e cultura. E eu vou falar um pouquinho, aqui eu tenho um pouco dos princípios do CRAI, do Comparme, do comitê, que eu vou passar porque eu acho que meu tempo já está se esvaziando. Aqui são as nossas missões e, como foi dito anteriormente pela Fátima, elaborar, implementar e monitorar o plano municipal para pessoas imigrantes e refugiadas é um deles. Acredito que todos nós saibamos que ainda estamos começando a comigrar, que é a Conferência Nacional para a Migração dessa nova gestão, e nós já estamos planejando para janeiro desse ano uma conferência a fim de eleger delegados migrantes. É importante dizer que os delegados serão da sociedade civil e migrantes, então a gente não pode... não haverá brasileiros eleitos delegados para participação na Comigrar. E aqui eu tenho um pouco do CRAI. O CRAI ele foi criado com a ajuda da instituição CORE e também da OIM, da Acnur. A gente conta com triagem, 3 banheiros, depósito, 2 salas multiuso, sala de inclusão digital, salas de atendimento e dormitórios, que atualmente estão desativados, mas podemos reabri-los, estamos nesse processo. E também o CRAI ele conta com a orientação jurídica, a orientação psicológica, a orientação de assistente social e também aulas de português semanais, 2 vezes por semana, e a sala de inclusão digital com 20 computadores, todos doados pela OIM. Em 6 meses, tivemos 235 refugiados imigrantes beneficiados, com 60 abrigamentos, 847 acessos, 45 alunos de português e quase, agora já passamos de 200 atendimentos, porque esses dados são de janeiro a junho. E aqui um pouco da conferência, eu trouxe os eixos do que a gente planeja para a conferência municipal, para eleger esses delegados que irão ao Distrito Federal participar da Comigrar. E aí, acho que agora a apresentação acabou, então posso fechar. Então, é importante dizer que a gente está muito no início do trabalho. Acho que dentro desses quase 2 anos, muito foi feito diante de um campo que não estava sendo explorado pela nossa cidade, não estava sendo alvo de políticas públicas, e dentro desses 2 anos a gente conseguiu criar o comitê, conseguimos criar um centro de referência e estamos dando cada vez mais visibilidade para a população refugiada e imigrante. E é importante que tenhamos esses espaços, tenhamos a Cidade das Artes, essas conferências, pessoas ouvindo, pessoas falando sobre, para dar essa visibilidade, para dar essa importância. É fundamental que cada vez mais nós tenhamos migrantes e refugiados participando ativamente da construção de políticas públicas. Eu acho que é esse o principal objetivo da Prefeitura na criação do Comparme e no desenvolvimento de uma conferência que será liderada e tocada por lideranças da migrantes e refugiados que habitam aqui no Rio de Janeiro. Eu acho que esse é o objetivo da Prefeitura, não só realizar, mas que sejam políticas públicas idealizadas, implementadas por eles e para eles.
Um aplauso. Thank you so much, Matheus, and I don't want to take much time from the next speaker, but I really want to highlight something you said that I think it's important just to remember, but also to think of this action you're putting in place from that perspective, which is the emergency governance that has often been the mainstream way to go when you say, like, we have not done enough until the issue was already there. And this is something we heard a lot during the consultations of the Lampedusa Charter with more than 200 local governments, where that they faced the reality so harshly when it was already a little bit late. And this long-term perspective, beyond the participation in public policy, I think it also brings a solution to that emergency approach, which is sometimes the one that creates mistrust. So thank you very much for that. And now I'll go to the other side of the coin of what we are discussing today, which is the youth. We are so glad to have with us Laís Loureiro. She is part of the Migration, Youth and Children platform. This platform is a self-organized group of very powerful young representatives that are all over the world, trying to self-organize and empower each other in order to influence global processes, that, like the one I was talking about, the UN processes, the Global Fora for Migration and Development. That's where we met them as a network, and that's where the youth, this platform, started a very productive cooperation with our network, with United Cities and local governments. And they have recently, in that, as part of that partnership and of the partnership with the Mayors Mechanism of the GFMD, that they developed a guide with recommendations for local governments to meaningfully include youth. So the great news is that Laís is like plenty of ideas on how to improve migrant youth inclusion. So I just want you to tell us a little bit of what are the opportunities that you see in this cooperation, and if you want to share any examples from this work. Thank you, Laís.
Perfect. Is it working? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to excuse myself for making this intervention in English. It was accredited by my team, which is made of mostly foreigners. So if you guys need a translation, you can get the translation device outside. And I would like to also first thank you for inviting MYCP to be here in this roundtable and to sit me next to so many wonderful people, experts on the field. Before I start talking, I would like to give a brief introduction on myself. My name is Laís Loureiro. I am 23 years old, and I am a project officer at the Migration, Youth and Children platform, also known as MYCP, which is an organization that envisions the empowerment of young people throughout the policy-making processes at the United Nations and beyond. I studied law and political science in France, and I'm currently studying international relations. I've been working with migration and human rights for the past 4 years in various different organizations, such as International Amnesty, Mouvement Uni, Caritas, and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes on the Division of Human Trafficking and Migrant Smuggling. So, in light of the Global Compact on Migration and the Global Compact on Refugees, which are a list of commitments that envision the implementation of the United Nations Sustainability Goals on said topics, 60 mayors and local authorities have pledged and adopted the Marrakech Declaration, which calls for the recognition of the role of local authorities in the process of ensuring the rights of refugees and migrants. The objective is to improve the experience of migrants and refugees by implementing innovative and comprehensive policies and programs at the community level. These initiatives aim to facilitate their welcome, integration, and ensure the safeguard for migrants and refugees. The call for local action, which is the reason why we're here, and I'm very proud to be presenting this platform for you. It's a platform for which governments and organizations can submit their activities to express their commitment and objectives, gain visibility, and learn from other innovative, locally led initiatives. Local and regional governments that are interested in the initiative can sign the Marrakech Mayors Declaration, while organizations can endorse the call for local action and then submit their online activities. In partnership with the Mayors Mechanism, MYCP has created a guide to youth engagement in local action for the goals. This guide is something that we have worked a lot to really make it as extensive and direct as possible, to really engage young people throughout the process of making policies and being part of decisive moments for global and local politics. We are very passionate about creating the link between local governments, migrants, and youth, because we know that young people are highly involved in creating inclusive communities. We also know that youth and youth-led organizations are doing innovative and exciting work at the local level. We hope that expanded communication and partnership between young people and local governments will allow scaling up of existing efforts, the emergence of exciting new ideas, and bringing new perspectives to the table. But we are here because we're a platform seeking to make a revolution in the migration field. The participation of migrants and refugees in the political, social, and cultural life of cities is vital to prevent and combat xenophobia, stereotypes, and misinformation, as well as to promote inclusion. A few examples of ways that local governments can engage with migrants and refugees is through the identification and mapping of existing structures that promote the participation of migrants and refugees in their communities, and actually reaching out to them and learn what they have already been doing and offer a helping hand to these structures and ask how they can help their ideas to be developed and actually implemented in society. Another way is through the establishment of official mechanisms to engage with this population in order to receive feedback and ideas during the policy-making processes. Us at MYCP, we believe that under no circumstances it is possible to create an inclusive and representative policy on migration without hearing from those who are actually going to be impacted by said policies. MYCP promotes the participation of young people in policymaking on migration. We have worked with various international organizations, initiatives, and third sector partners to ensure that young voices will be heard. Our team is composed of over 50 individuals who are from various different parts of the world, and many of them are actually migrants and refugees themselves, so this really puts them in a place of they are able to speak from on experience. In addition, our network is composed of over 4,000 youth-led organizations. We engage through various ways, for example, through meetings, negotiations, forums, as well as working groups in different topics related to migration, such as alternatives to detention, gender, smuggling of migrants, and climate change. We have also been able to bring a youth perspective through our activities, working with key partners like UCLG, as well as carrying out consultations to draft an intergenerational social contract to include youth in social political life of the city. We are very fortunate to see our hard work paying off when we see youth-led projects being supported by local governments. A few examples of this support is with a project called OIDP from France, which is an educational project on citizenship and international solidarity, as well as Tu También from Spain, which seeks to improve inclusion, especially of unaccompanied minors and young people in exile through education. I would like to make an honorable mention to the Special Secretariat for Youth from Rio de Janeiro that has been implementing an extensive program focused on citizenship and capacity building for young people in extreme social vulnerability. Another good example in Brazil is from our colleagues from IOM that have recently hosted free youth forums in different cities in Brazil that involved young participants, civil society, local actors, and many more. In summary, MYCP works towards the meaningful engagement of youth in migration and displacement policy to achieve global goals at the local level, and believe that the Call to Local Action initiative is a pivotal instrument that will allow local governments to better adhere to the pathways to achieve the sustainable goals and the goals of the Global Compacts on Migration and Refugees. Youth-led organizations are incentivized to submit concrete pledges that fosters youth engagement on the topic in order to bring visibility and recognition to the importance of working with local governments. I would like to thank you for welcoming me once again, and to really make a point to say that it's really important to make young people be part of the decision-making processes. We have many innovative ideas. We are tuned with the needs of the world. And when we are talking about migration, we need to acknowledge the fact that many young migrants are excluded from the decision-making processes. And we as an organization really have the main objective of putting a spotlight on them and making their voices be heard and make their inputs be recognized as valuable as they actually are. Thank you very much.
To you. Well, thanks a lot to you, Lais, and first to the platform for the efforts you're doing in making it easier for local governments to open those spaces, but also for reminding us that youth inclusion is not only an end, but also a means, a bridge to effectively address issues as difficult as xenophobia, discrimination, misinformation, and so on and so forth. So it is not just about the governance of including people, but really a means to create more diverse society where there's some kind of local citizenship that we will perhaps speak about later on in this session. So let me go now to the city of Rennes. We are so glad to have with us Patrice Allais, who is the Deputy Director General for Solidarity, Citizenship and Culture in the city since 2015. And I want to ask you, Mr. Allais, from the experience of Rennes, how this connection between migrant inclusion but effective youth engagement happen in the ground, and when and where does it happen, and how you make it work through public policy?
Ok, très bien. Je vais essayer de répondre à cette question en anglais et on va être à deux pour la traduction.
Exactly.
So, intentaré traducir el francés al castellano y pueden ahí traducir con el eso. ¿O en inglés?
In English, right? We have English and Portuguese, right?
No, it's Spanish.
Ah, Spanish también. Ah,
yeah.
Spanish is good too.
Vaya.
Donc, si on peut projeter les diapositives avec celle qui est en noir, qu'on a vue tout à l'heure.
So, se puede poner la presentación de Rennes en la pantalla.
Son las diapositivas negras.
Eso es.
Obrigado. Donc, Rennes, c'est une ville de 250 000 habitants, une petite ville pour le Brésil, je pense. Pour la France, c'est plutôt une grande ville, même si c'est la 10e ou la 11e ville de France, et 450 000 habitants dans la métropole de Rennes.
Rennes es una ciudad francesa de 150.000 habitantes, una ciudad que para ciudades como en Brasil podría ser muy pequeña, pero en Francia es una ciudad bastante grande, y si se considera la área metropolitana, Rennes tiene 450.000 habitantes.
C'est une ville qui historiquement n'a pas eu beaucoup d'immigration jusqu'à il y a 15 ans environ, et depuis il y a beaucoup plus de population immigrée, migrante, comme dans d'autres grandes villes en France.
No es una ciudad que tiene una historia de trayectoria de migración. Las olas de migración llegaron hace como 15 años, entonces es un fenómeno bastante nuevo para Rennes, y está viviendo ahora en Rennes como realidades como en otras ciudades francesas más grandes.
Donc, dans nos politiques publiques, les sujets de l'accueil des migrants, mais aussi les sujets de lutte contre le racisme, de ce qu'on appelle en France l'intégration, y compris avec les sujets de mémoire de la colonisation, qui sont des sujets qui font souvent débat en France, sont des sujets importants qu'on essaie de traiter dans nos politiques publiques désormais.
El trabajo que hacen en Rennes sobre migración no solamente se vincula a la llegada de migrantes, sino que también se llega al legado colonial de Francia, a reconocer el legado colonial de Francia. También se vincula a la lucha contra el racismo a nivel local en las políticas públicas y en fomentar una situación de integración de las personas migrantes en la ciudad de Rennes.
Donc moi j'ai envie de vous parler des jeunes, mais en commençant par les plus jeunes qui sont les enfants en fait. Et ça nous semble important à Rennes, notamment dans notre projet éducatif local, dans notre programme municipal sur l'éducation, de travailler ces questions dès le plus jeune âge, dès l'école maternelle à 3 ans en France.
El primer público con quien están trabajando en la ciudad de Rennes son los niños. La primera etapa de trabajo sobre el tema de migración son los niños y tienen lo que llaman un proyecto educativo local que permite entrar en contacto con los niños.
Du coup, en participation, on essaie comme les adultes, de faire participer les enfants, d'éviter que ce soit les parents qui parlent à la place des enfants, mais pour de vrai, les enfants qui puissent donner leur avis sur un certain nombre de choses, et je vais vous donner quelques exemples.
El primer objetivo es permitir la participación de los niños, no de los padres, pero realmente directamente tener la voz de los niños escuchados.
On a par exemple un budget participatif des enfants. Les enfants dans les écoles d'un quartier proposent des projets pour leur quartier autour, et après ils vont voter, ils vont faire campagne eux-mêmes comme des grands, et ils vont voter pour le projet qu'ils préfèrent qui sera financé. Et ils auront même, je vous l'ai amené parce que c'est mignon, une carte d'électeur avec un bulletin de vote pour leur projet qu'ils préfèrent, etc.
Entonces, el primer punto que hacen con los niños es permitir un presupuesto participativo con la ciudad de Rennes en que los niños pueden hacer campaña, votar, es lo que estaba enseñando ahora, es la tarjeta de voto y la carta de elector que permite construir una ciudadanía inclusiva desde los niños.
On a aussi travaillé, et c'est important pour la reconnaissance par rapport au sujet de racisme, sur le choix du nom des nouvelles écoles qu'on construit. Nous avons récemment ouvert 2 nouvelles écoles et nous avons proposé 4 noms aux enfants, et c'est les enfants qui ont choisi. Et on est assez content parce qu'on a proposé des noms assez différents, y compris des noms de la diversité. Et après vote, nos 2 écoles s'appellent Myriam Makeba et Toni Morrison. On n'a pas influencé les enfants. Il y avait aussi d'autres femmes engagées. On n'a proposé que des femmes dans les noms, qui étaient des militantes pacifistes plus locales de la région, aussi une scientifique.
Entonces, el otro punto que han intentado es proponer a la participación de los niños el nombre de las escuelas en Rennes. Entonces, de eso propusieron distintos nombres, de los cuales también nombres que no son franceses, que vienen de la diversidad cultural migratoria de Francia. Y entonces, de las 4 escuelas hay 2 nombres, que son 2 nombres de mujeres, que es Myriam Makeba y Toni Morrison. Entonces, esas 2 mujeres las escogieron los niños para dar un nuevo nombre a las escuelas.
Ensuite, de manière là peut-être un peu moins originale, on travaille beaucoup avec les enfants sur le respect entre les enfants, et y compris il y a des médiateurs. On forme certains enfants pour gérer les conflits dans la cour de l'école et pour apprendre aux enfants entre eux à plus se respecter. Ça permet d'avancer sur l'égalité filles-garçons, sur le racisme, etc.
También proponen una mediación. Hay personas que se encargan de mediación a trabajar con los niños sobre la gestión de los conflictos en las escuelas. Entonces hay toda una educación para el respeto en las escuelas y permiten a los niños protagonizar esa cultura del respeto y la mediación.
Et puis par exemple, je vous ai mis un dernier exemple là de sujet plus actuel aujourd'hui avec une exposition qu'on présente aux enfants avec l'association SOS Méditerranée sur les migrations et tout ce qui se passe en Europe, en Méditerranée, entre l'Europe et l'Afrique, d'assez malheureux actuellement.
También tiene una exposición que está ahora en las escuelas de Rennes, que es una exposición sobre, se llama SOS Méditerranée, quiere decir que es para ayudar en el Mediterráneo. Es una ONG que permite salvar las vidas de las personas migrantes en el Mediterráneo. Entonces hicieron una exposición y permiten que ese tema también esté en la conciencia y presente en la vida de los niños.
Ensuite, sur les jeunes plutôt qui sont entre 15 et 20 ans, voire plus, on a un ensemble d'actions et on retrouve partiellement des axes que Matheus a cités tout à l'heure. on essaie de reconnaître les jeunes migrants qui sont arrivés, qui sont scolarisés, comme des vrais citoyens. On travaille sur l'insertion professionnelle, sur l'apprentissage des métiers. Vous avez une photo d'une action qui s'appelle Refugee Food Festival, où des restaurants proposent des menus et intègrent des réfugiés dans la préparation des menus pour faire découvrir les autres cuisines. Et ils ont une reconnaissance professionnelle au fur et à mesure de ça.
También trabajan con los adolescentes. Es un tema muy importante porque hay menores no acompañados que llegan, entonces hacen un trabajo específico con los adolescentes que llegan de trayectorias migratorias y trabajan en la inserción profesional, específicamente, por ejemplo, daba el ejemplo de la restauración, entonces permite que haya formación para esos menores que llegaron y también un reconocimiento profesional, involucramiento en la vida profesional en Rennes.
Dans les MJC, dans les maisons de jeunes, dans les quartiers, on soutient aussi différents projets où les jeunes de toutes origines du quartier travaillent sur l'engagement, sur la lutte contre le racisme. Je me retrouvais assez dans ce que disait Matheus sur recréer de la confiance aussi dans le rapport aux institutions, et le soutien à ces projets proposés par les jeunes, ça participe à ça. Si on veut pouvoir travailler après ou qu'ils se considèrent, même si parfois ils n'ont pas le droit de vote, comme des citoyens de la ville, il faut vraiment qu'on arrive à soutenir les projets qu'ils souhaitent mener sur différents combats qui sont les leurs.
También estaba explicando que hay casas de la ciudadanía, de los jóvenes en particular en esa ciudad, y como las personas que no tienen el derecho a votar, esa casa es un espacio también de construcción de la ciudadanía porque pueden presentar proyectos, pueden ser acompañados. También hay de nuevo todo un trabajo sobre la lucha contra el racismo y también lo que estaba explicando Matheus, hay un trabajo sobre la confianza con las instituciones porque es un punto clave cuando se trata de las personas migrantes.
Globalement, sur l'accueil des migrants, je vais aller un petit peu plus vite là-dessus, car on n'est plus forcément que sur la jeunesse. On a mis en place un plan hospitalité où on travaille sur la santé, sur le logement. En France, c'est des choses qui dépendent beaucoup de l'État fédéral. L'État fédéral ne fait pas assez de choses à notre sens, donc on développe dans les villes engagées des choses complémentaires. Vous avez quelques images, beaucoup sur l'apprentissage du français, c'était une des actions aussi de Rio. Et puis il y a beaucoup de sujets de santé et de santé mentale aussi qui sont importants.
También tienen un plan de acogida para todos los adultos, todas las personas que están en situación de migración, y entonces trabajan temas como la salud, como la vivienda, también el tema específico de la salud mental. Son temas muy importantes. También hay clases de francés, curso de idioma para que puedan aprender el idioma francés.
Et enfin, un projet sur lequel on va travailler en 2024, qui est important et qui croise aussi un des axes de ce qui a été proposé à Rio, c'est d'avoir des lieux pour discuter avec les migrants des actions mises en place pour les améliorer. C'est au cœur des sujets de citoyenneté des migrants et des jeunes migrants. En France, Grenoble, qui parlait ce matin, réfléchit et est plus en avance que Rennes sur ces questions, mais c'est des sujets qu'on discute aussi entre villes françaises, et on va essayer d'avoir cette instance en 2024 à Rennes.
Entonces, todo eso es parte de una estrategia específica que viene de un plan municipal de acogida a las personas migrantes, y también tienen mecanismo de rendición de cuenta en que hay espacio de diálogo con personas migrantes que puedan ir comentando, criticando, dando sus feedback, sus experiencias sobre las políticas municipales. Esos espacios de diálogo son muy importantes porque permiten cambiar y reorientar las políticas públicas locales.
Merci beaucoup.
Muito obrigada.
Obrigado.
Well, here I want to say a double thanks. First, thanks for really keeping to the time and for bringing us such a wealth of actions, but also special thanks to Amanda for having translated so well. And before we conclude this session, we have some 10 minutes left. I just wanted to highlight that across all these interventions, what we have been hearing, I would stress as a common point is that there's not such a thing as a specific public policy that can only be designed for youth, and then a specific public policy for participation, and then another one for migration. And usually we, people from the world of city networks and so on, use very difficult words. And here we tend to speak about intersectionality, and what we just say with intersectionality is that everything is connected, and you cannot think of one policy without thinking of the impacts on other groups of people that might not be directly addressed. And I think that this session and the work that we are starting through the call to local action on participation and discrimination it's a very clear example of that. It is not just about policies for migrants and refugees or asylum seekers or internally displaced people. It is a way of doing public policy. It is a way of rethinking of democracy. And in the World Secretariat of United Cities and Local Government, we have been also so privileged to do this work with the Committee on Social Inclusion, Participatory Democracy and Human Rights, of course also in partnership with the OIDP whenever possible, but with Amanda more concretely, we will be next weekend with Adriatu, like expanding on this work, just creating a space for those that have things to say, so cities, but also youth, but also civil society and so on, to exchange both what is already working and what is a concern still and that doesn't have a solution. And I want also, Amanda, since you're here with us, to let us know a little bit more about how we got here and how this is connected to our joint work on local citizenship, and how do we understand we, when I say we, I say the cities. We just are sharing with you what our members bring up. And we've been working with the city of Grenoble and many other French cities and cities from the rest of the world in bringing forward this concept that of course has migrant inclusion in its backbone, but also discrimination, xenophobia, participation, and so on. And Amanda, perhaps you want to tell us a little bit more.
Thank you so much. Oh.
Doesn't work.
Thank you so much, Fátima, for this invitation. And maybe just to start saying that it's very important that a network as UCLG, the one we're working for, has been highlighting the necessity to have for local government a specific agenda on migration. From the Committee on Social Inclusion, we have been working mostly on defending the universality of human rights and trying to defend a human right-based approach to the agenda on migration. I think what cities bring to the table of discussion at the international level has been the human experience. What they've been bringing as a preoccupation in the discussions, how we could have responses from humanity, from the respect of the human rights of the different people. And that was a very strong message, and the local government came powerful with this necessity of maybe opening new space, thinking that there is no local government in this world who has official competence of dealing with migration. So it's really impactful to see that local governments are bringing this willingness to be developing further policies to include migrants. And saying that also because this recognition that local government should provide a space for citizenship for migrants beyond the legal status has been one of the key messages also advanced by our constituency. And this brings also the necessity to rebuild the social contract. We are talking about participatory democracy. This preoccupation on participatory democracy came from this willingness from local government to think the relation with the citizenship. But how can you be a citizen if you don't have access to any public services, if you don't have the same rights as the other one? This cannot work. So what we have been really trying to foster with this reflection is to build an inclusive citizenship, and this goes from action of local government providing local IDs for people migrating. Those local IDs allows to have access to health, to different kind of public services at the local level, and with a range of activities also like, for example, the financial inclusion, for example, led in the city of Barcelona. It means that the municipality is trying to open a dialogue with bank so migrant people can have access to bank account, and that's one also of a very interesting policies made at the local level to start expanding the vision on how to include migrant people locally. And maybe just to close on that, we know that this human mobility we are seeing at the international level is only starting, and the discussion we're having, we're just beginning the first steps on the way local government can respond, but everybody as a society can also improve their response because the human being is going like all the time to be looking for better opportunities and better life everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I would have loved for the last minutes of the session to open the floor for discussion, but of course this very rarely happens. Still we have like somehow 5 minutes, so if anyone in the room wants to take the floor very shortly, you're invited to do it now. And otherwise, I will just close by, first of all, thanking you all for the work you're doing and for sharing it. And sharing it is as important as doing it, because many other cities in the world are learning from your very nice experiences and also from your mistakes. So also feel free to share those. And again, sharing with you that this conversation has just started, that is continuing over next week, and everything that we collect in terms of actions, and we hope to do so also with OIDP and Rennes and other cities, is in the platform of the call to local action. You can go there and search by topic, by region of the world, what is being done that can be perhaps inspiring or that can be perhaps improved, depending on where you are standing with regards to that. So please join us on 14th and 15th November. Join the call to local action if you're a city. And if you're not, push your city to join our great work on migration and refugees. And if you're still willing to learn a lot today, join Amanda's session in room 3, which is about the campaign, the human rights campaign that the committee is bringing forward. So with a lot of thanks to the partners that have helped with this, and with very special thanks to Fernando for setting this up. I thank you for your attention, and I thank the speaker again, and please an applause for them.